How to count atoms. In this worksheet, we have two papers. Remember, you can get a copy of this worksheet down in the link below. In chemistry, elements can stand by themselves. When they do, it counts as one single atom of that element. Or they can come together in clumps of two. So right here, the number 2 at the bottom right, the subscript, it represents we have 2 atoms of chlorine. And then they can finally come in a big clump called a formula. It's kind of like having a bunch of fruits in a basket, and then you have a variety of fruits like oranges or apples, bananas. So elements, when put together to become a formula. In this formula, the count is a little bit different from the former two. So here we have Ca by itself. And in the 3 at the bottom right, this 3 belongs to Ca. Therefore, we have 3 atoms of Ca. Whereas this PO4, this P is by itself, and this 4 belongs to this O. That means we have 4 O and 1 P inside this parenthesis. And this parenthesis out here, the number 2, is going to be distributed just like we do in math. That 2 is distributed out, so we're going to end up with 2 atoms of the phosphorus P. And this 2 times the 4, that means we're going to have 8 atoms of the oxygen. You can also think of it like this. We have 3 Ca, and then we have a parenthesis PO4. Notice it tells us that we have 2 PO4. And there's our grand total. 1, 2, 3 Ca, 1, 2 P, 4 O, another 4 O, for a grand total of 8 O. Okay, next we have is coefficient. Coefficient is the big number in front of the whole formula. So for example, 3C, instead of the little subscript, this 3 is going to multiply by the whole equation. In this case, it's only C by itself. So it'll be 3 atoms of carbon. Whereas down here, we see that we have 2 of the NaSO4. So this 2 is going to distribute to everything, just like we did with the parenthesis earlier. So this 2 times the Na, that gives us 2 atoms of Na. And then this 2 also times the S, that gives us 2 atoms of the S. And this 2 times the O4, which gives us 8 oxygen. Again, this we can write it out. So I just wrote NaSO4 twice because the coefficient is 2, telling us that we have the 2 of the formula. And by adding them up vertically, we still get 2, 2, 8. Let's move the ones to the bottom and let's try out these examples. So our first formula is we have 2 H2O. That means we have 2 molecules of the H2O, or we can write H2O twice. So I just wrote H2O twice, H2O, another H2O, and when we total it up, we add it vertically, we have 4H, 4 hydrogen, and then O, we have 2O, 2 oxygen. So if you want, you can multiply this quickly in your head. You can take the number 3 times each one individually. So 3 times this one will give us 6 Na. 3 times the S by itself will give us 3S. And 3 times the O4 will give us 12 oxygen. But if you can't do that, then I recommend you write it out individually. So starting with the coefficient, 3. So we multiplied, how many Na are there? There's 2 Na, and we multiplied by 3. That gives us a grand total of 6 Na. And then we'll do the same thing to the S. 3 times, because there's only one S. Anytime when an element is by itself and there's no subscript or anything in front or behind it, then it just represents 1. So 3 times 1 will give us 3. And then 3 times the 04. So there's 4 oxygen and there's times 3s of it. It'll give us 12. So again, you can do the quick shortcut by simply just multiplying directly. 4 times PB, that's 4 PB. 4 times N, which also times 2, that's 8N. And then 4 times O3 times 2, 24O. Or you can also write it out. We have 4 times PB, again, if it's by itself and there's nothing else, then that's just 1. So 1 times 4 is 4 for the PB. For our N, first we have is the 4. That's our coefficient. Then we have N, which is by itself. And then this N also multiplies to this 2. For a grand total of 8. And then for oxygen, we have the big 4 times oxygen. There's 3 oxygen to start with. And then multiply it by the 2, which equals to 24. So many ways to count it. It's totally up to you. Okay, so let's move on over to our second page, which is the worksheet for the day. Let's start with top left one right here. So what they wanted to do is to count the atoms present in the different compounds by using the coefficient and subscripts. First we have is K2. So the type of atom is they want you to list it out. We have K. How many are there? There is 2K. We have C, and we also have O. The C is by itself. There's no number next to it, the subscript. So there's 1C. And in the O, there's 3O. For a grand total of 6. All right, let's try a different one. Let's find one that has coefficient and parentheses. Okay, we'll work on this one right here. 4 times Al2. So first, let's write out the Al. You have your big 4 times, how many Al do we have? We have 2 Al. And that's it. So that comes out to be 8 Al, aluminum. Next we have is C, and we also have O. C we have is the big 4 times, how many C? The C is by itself, so that's 1. Times, don't forget to multiply anything in parentheses, because parentheses is going to be distributed to the C and distributed to the O. So it's going to be 3. And that gives a grand total of 4 times 3, which is 12. Oxygen you have is the big 4. Notice we have O3, which means we have 3 oxygen. And finally, don't forget to distribute that 3 on the outside. So we have 12 times 3 is 36. And that gives us a grand total of 10, 16, carry 1, 56 atoms. Alright, so now it's your turn to try. I'll put 15 minutes on the clock. Okay, have fun.